I'll give it like another minute. It may be dinner time, so I may not get a bunch of people, but I wanted to wait until my day was over just in case people had questions about anything that comes up. And so I always talk about being obedient to spirit. And I realized I don't always share a lot of stories about my own personal experiences, and I have phenomenally magic experiences that I need to share because people need to understand that, as random as spirit may seem sometimes giving messages, even if you don't recognize a word that's said, if you're hearing things in your divine mind, right? So this is what I mean by divine mind, recognizing the difference between divine mind and ego mind. Happy early birthday, Isaac. Isaac just said tomorrow's his birthday. So recognizing the difference is the monkey mind is constantly and incessantly chattering, but it's usually berates you. It's self-berating. It's talking you out of something. It's telling you that you ain't shit, you can't do shit, you won't be shit, you won't do shit, right? That's the ego. That's the constantly judgment mind. So whenever the mind is incessantly chattering and it's like judgment, right? Or time traveling to the past, to the future, that is the ego mind. Anytime you feel the need to defend yourself, that is also ego. So divine mind is, I am so unwaveringly present. Like I am with you right now. I'm completely open and present. I am seeing things as they're coming up on my screen. I am hearing the music. I am feeling all of the feels of my space and opening this portal of space between you and I. And so I am completely engaged and present. So whatever comes to me in that state is divine. I don't think before I speak, and I don't ever think before I speak, and that is always divine communication because I am heart-centered and I'm in my highest integrity, and so that creates a pure state of action and communication. So you are receiving me in my purest state, okay? So with that said, I am always in that state. So when I travel, especially, I am very aware of synchronicities, of anything that's occurring, that's happening for me, not to me, for me, okay? And so I had originally planned to be in Washington State again, like I had last summer, to be with my soul sister Jenny. And I didn't realize I had scheduled my 2-week vacation really close to my daughter's graduation. And so I couldn't do that and feel okay with that. So I ended up staying here the first week. We went to San Diego, spent the day at the beach, and I spent my time with her for the week. And so I knew I would only have travel time for a week. So spending 2 days driving there and 2 days driving back, you see that? There's a fruit fly in here. 4 days driving for 2 days staying just seemed absurd to me. So I decided to go somewhere much closer, and my beautiful soul sister Diana Tapia invited me to their home. And so I went, and I really feel, especially now looking back over that was divinely guided. So that in itself, you see how sometimes things having the wrench thrown in your plans can seem like disturbing or upsetting. But really, everything happens for a reason and everything has a purpose. I took the last 2 weeks vacation because I am actually full on in this transit, and it's creating this square with Uranus and my natal sun, and it's really intense. And it's causing this energetic expansion of myself that is affecting me physically and in a good way, but it's really intense. And I didn't want to work through that. I really wanted to nurture myself through that shift. So I drove up to the Salinas Valley, beautiful space. Okay, so I arrived very late, a Sunday evening. So the very next day, Memorial Day, we decided to go to the beach and drive. And so this is the reason why I'm sharing this story, all about synchronicities. How do you pay attention to synchronicities? How are you obedient to spirit? And what are the results when you honor your spirit, when you honor those divine voices, when you honor synchronicity? What are the divine messages that happen? What is the magic that can occur? What is the healing or the expanding that can also arise in that beautiful connection? So Monday, she said, it's a holiday, and I really think I should take this back road because the roads are going to be really packed. And so she took a back road through Crazy Horse, I think is what she called it. But it's beautiful rolling hills. So not unlike The Sound of Music. Beautiful, and like these grassy hills and mountains. It's not rocky at all. There's these dotted ranches. So there's horses and cows, and it's just these little farms, and it's just beautiful. So I was enjoying being a passenger, first of all. So I was really like engaged with the environment, looking at all of the beautiful scenery. And I looked off into the distance and noticed this white gate. And when I saw the white gate, Spirit right away said, go to the back paddock. And so I told her, Diana, I just heard from Spirit to go to the back paddock. And she goes, what does that mean? And I said, I don't know, I'm Googling it. So I Googled it, and at 12:51, I got, you can't even see it, at 12:51 p.m. on June 1st, I got the message, paddock is a small field or enclosure where horses are kept and exercised. And so I was like, holy shit, that's a word that Sherry didn't even know, but Spirit gave me, and it's a thing, and it's most likely, most definitely 100% a guaranteed thing here. So I said I was looking at this white gate when I was told that. And she said, well, where's the white gate? And she actually turned around. We pulled over, and that is the white gate. So as you see, there is a front paddock, and there seemingly is a white gate back all the way back here, and then fields. And so we tried to find a road and go to the back paddock. But it was a private drive, private property, private farm. And so she said, I wonder if the owner would let us come in. And I was like, no biggie. Let's just go. Let's go to the beach where we were going to go. So we went. And literally days passed. And we hiked every day. We went all up and down Big Sur. It was so beautiful. I was so honored that she took me to these beautiful places, and I really felt my well replenished. By the way, when we stopped and I took this picture, it was 12:55. The 55 is a spiritual message, angel number that represents imminent change, powerful change. So yes, that's very key in this story as well. So anyhow, we spent the day at the beach and then went through the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, we were going to visit her beautiful brother, Armando. Armando's beautiful wife, Bere, is about to deliver their very first child any day now. I know what my guess is, but I won't say it here just in case she decides to watch. But before Father's Day, because I did tell her that. So we took that same road. She said, I'm going to take that same road. And when we approached that farm, I was looking up into the rolling grassy hills, and I saw this like line by the very top edge of the hill. And it looked like it could be a road, maybe a trail. I didn't know. But Spirit right away said, come here, come up here. And so I told her, I said, Spirit says I need to be up there. Like, see that line? So she pulled over and she said, I actually added an app to my phone that will tell me where all the like nearest hiking trails are. And so when she pulled it up, sure enough, there was a hiking trail right there. And so we went down this dirt road, which was past the farm, and then turned, and then holy shit, parked and had to walk. And as we walked through these bushes, that's the white gate that I saw the very first day. And so that is the back paddock that we were going to be walking through to get to the trail that I was called to. So, thus begins the story, right? We start walking, and I posted the tree today, the first tree that we came to on the path. And we climbed the tree, and it was so beautiful, and I felt really nostalgic, like I had been there before and that I climbed that tree before, and the flowers were so fragrant. They smelled like lilacs, and it was just so beautiful. Just such a beautiful, beautiful morning too. And it was really like the wind just started picking up, and we were high because the hill is really high. But as we came around the bend, I just started crying. Like I felt so emotional, and I told her, I said, please don't feel worried for me or scared. It's not Sherry's emotion. I said, I'm processing something, but I'm just feeling really emotional and like pretty much ugly crying, walking. And so I'm walking up this hill, and I saw a tree, and I said, I've got to go to that tree. And I said, there's something carved in the trunk of that tree, and it's not a name. I'm the one that did that. I got to go to it. But it was a pretty steep embankment. I would say it was a good 80% grade. Like, whew, it was pretty steep. And she was standing further up the path than me, and she said, well, we could take this. And it was like a little towpath. And I was like, take what? And she said, come here. So I stood where she was, and you could see it, the way that the light hit it perfectly. There was this kind of zigzag path that went right to that tree. And you had to go foot over foot because it was really narrow up this very steep hill, grassy hill, but it was so grown over, like you really couldn't see the trail. So I'm sure, I was even thinking then, this is really old. Maybe hasn't been used since I used it. And I could feel that. And Spirit was affirming that for me. So when I went up to the tree, I kind of walked around, took pictures of the trunk of the tree, and I said, I need to sit in front of it. That's how I used to sit. Like my body, Sherry's body, right away went into the soul cell memory of what I used to do in that space. And it's always, when those things happen to me, I call it a soul glitch, right? It's kind of unnerving, but you follow it. You follow Spirit. I'm obedient to Spirit. I'm doing this because this is what I feel pulled to do. This is the flow. This is, that's the direction, right? And I'm obedient to direction of Spirit. And so I was sitting with my legs straight down in front of me, and it's a pretty steep embankment, but I just knew, I just took a deep breath and leaned back into the trunk and leaned my head back, and I became immediately emotional. I was connected with the tree The tree then showed me all of the recent trees that I had made offerings to. And I had always believed in my psychic sense that all trees are connected. All trees of the earth are connected. Their roots do not have to be touching in order for them to communicate. I always believed that. And for this tree to show me, the tree that I had just days before made an offering to at Pfizer State Park while we were hiking, and then in Washington, a cedar tree in Washington, and then down a palm tree in my own property, I was just becoming really emotional. And then the tree right away said, you need to sever cords with this dimension and call back your soul fragments. So I had no idea what had happened to me in that space. I knew I had been there. I knew that I had shared space with that tree many, many, many times. But I didn't know why I was being told to, I'm going to put on the flashlight because this really bad investment, the battery's dying already, and it's better to have more light. Okay, so now it's really bright. So anyhow, I was obedient. I severed cords. I just did the same thing I do for my full moon ritual, right? I sever all etheric cords and energetic connections across all timelines and all lifetimes with this life. And I got my name. My name was Melly, with Melly. And so it's always good for me to have the soul memory. And I know I've shared it many times. This is my last human life. And I know that this life is meant for me to be using the knowledge and the wisdom of all lives to share and teach, to be a spiritual teacher, spiritual servant. And I don't really, I'm not going to say that. I embrace the title teacher. I'm not going to say that anymore. I promised I would not say that anymore. So anyhow, I severed those etheric cords, but you still retain that soul memory. You just are no longer processing the pain because it's not Sherry's pain. It's not Sherry's agony. It's not Sherry's duty anymore to process pain that was my past life. So that soul memory that's written in the deepest parts of my being are no longer mine to carry. They're to make me wise, not to impede me. And so that's why we sever cords, because we keep shit clean. Severing cords keeps shit clean. There's no other way for me to say that. It keeps it pure. And so many people say like, oh, it means I'm admonishing love. If they need energy, I'll give it to them. They can have whatever they want. No, bullshit. They are a sovereign being. You are a sovereign being. Melly, my past self, was a sovereign being. Sherry is a sovereign being. But I can hold the cell wisdom without holding the cell memory of the trauma. That is the important part. That's the purity. That's the importance of keeping things clean. So I did that, and I called back the soul fragments. As soon as I called back soul fragments, I felt my heart expand, and I wept. I was very emotional, and we meditated there for about 30 minutes or so, and I offered gratitude, but I heard right away to put my left hand down. And when I put my left hand down, there was a stone. And my hand perfectly landed in the spot. Like I didn't feel around. Like literally it was right where my hand was meant to rest. And it rested on this hump of a stone. And it was loose. So I picked it up and it was flat on one side. And I knew that the person I was meeting in that space, because it was secret meeting, very intimate secret meeting, that we would leave things for each other under this stone. And so I searched the dirt, like to find remnants maybe of, or validation of this soul memory that I felt so strongly about, and there was nothing in the dirt. but I took a crystal out of my bra and put it under the stone, replaced the stone and covered it back up with the debris, and started back down the hill. So we went down the hill and I said, I need to go up this path a little bit. And there was a tree literally looking like it's jutting out of the side of the hill over a cliff, like it's a sheer drop off where the hill had a turn, and this tree is just coming out of nothing. But I could feel it, walking up the path, and I was wearing a cardigan just like this, and I said, and I could feel the wind under my cardigan, and I could feel the joy that I felt feeling that, and I knew I used to do this. I feel free. I feel like a bird up here, so high, and pulling my cardigan like this. And I knew that I was a young woman, probably late teens, 16, 17, 18, 19. I don't feel I was in my 20s yet. And the man that I was meeting was the same age. I did not get his name initially. And so we went to the other tree, and I saw a knot in the tree. It was above my head, so I couldn't see, but I just bent down, picked up a dried flower, and stuck it in there because I felt it was a hole, not a knot. And it was. So I reached up, put my phone above my head, and took a picture inside the hole. And I said, he used to do this. He would put flowers in this hole for me, but not from this hillside, not from the prairie, not from the nearby trees or the prairies. He would take them from somewhere other place, and they were always beautiful colors or scents, but they were always exotic to this space. He would bring me these really unique flowers and leave them in the tree for me. I knew that. So that's what I was given initially that first day, but I wanted to know more because, first of all, for the tree to direct me to sever cords and to call back soul fragments, I knew that whatever had happened to me was pretty intense. But I could feel something with that tree, and I actually felt like flying, like leaping from that space. And I said, I don't think there would ever have been a swing here. Like, this would just be like reckless to put a swing on this tree, because if a limb ever snapped or the rope, God forbid, forget it, you would fall to your death because it was really high. But anyhow, we left, and in meditation, I asked to be given more information, did not receive it, not even in dream time. And so that was Saturday. I returned home Sunday. Sunday night, nothing. And so Monday, I went and had my body work done. And so Elise Rust, she's amazing, magic hands. Her and I have also shared past life, but there's great safety in her touch. She never takes my energy. She never depletes my energy. And I'm never feeding off of her. It's just this beautiful communion that happens, and I feel so safe in her space that I do tend to see past life experiences and process a lot of trauma that Sherry's still holding in cell memory. And her touch does this magical thing for me. And so she just started stroking the back of my neck, and right away I saw more. And so in that tree that jutted out of the side of the hill, my father and brother had walked me up there, and I was hung. And so walking up there, I felt very stoic, as Melly. Like I had already resolved to just give up. And I was sad, but beyond crying. I didn't cry. I was very poker faced, and I could just feel like just dead and numb. And I was pregnant. And so we walked to the tree. My brother climbed out all the way to one of the furthest limbs and tied the rope and then threw the other end to my father, and then came out of the tree. And yes, I was. Not the one I shared the picture of, the one I put the flower in, and I'll share a picture of that tree. The one I climbed in was really close to the home. So I really, and I believe now even more so, we were not allowed to be seen together. So we would go to the highest parts of the hills and go to that first tree, which was completely occluded because the hill was so steep. The way the tree grew, we were hidden by all the boughs of the tree. And this other tree that I was hung from literally looks like it's growing out of the side of the hill, like a plank. Like you walk the plank, a pirate's plank, like if you walk, that's it. You fall to your death because it's literally hanging over nothing. It's amazing how the tree is still just hung on there. Anyhow, he threw the rope to my father, and I looked at my father and I knew it was my birthday. He was hanging me on my birthday, which is March 7th. Then it was March 7th. So Melly's birthday, March 7th. And I was being hung. My hands were bound behind my back. He put the rope around my neck and just pushed me. No words were ever exchanged between he and I, my brother and I. No words ever exchanged. Just pushed. And so that whole feeling when I first came to the tree of like flying out into the nothingness, like maybe there was a swing, that would be crazy. It was actually the last thing I had seen as Melly. And so of course I was very upset, but I stayed earthbound. And so I talk about this a lot too, like earthbound energy versus spirit. Like, do they cross over right away? Okay, so it's them that actually has the choice. I had the choice to either cross over right away or not to, and I did not. I stayed earthbound. And so in this soul memory, I was actually able to witness him return to the tree and find me. And feeling all of his rage, like such deep rage and anger at finding me that way. And I was stiff already because I was dead. Oh, see, and so that is also your spirit being connected, Amanda. And this is why I wanted to tell this story, because it's so important for us to be obedient to spirit. And when we feel things, to speak it, because that does heal our own cell memory of trauma in past lives. We get to recall and call back all those soul fragments that we've lost. We don't just lose soul fragments in our current life. We leave them dotted across all kinds of timelines. And it affects us even in this life. And so, hi Diana, see Diana's on. So anyhow, I was feeling that and feeling his rage and him really struggling because he was about my age. So probably a little older, maybe 18, 19, 20. And I was, a young woman. But in those years, and I feel that it was between the early 1900s, from 1880 to like 1913, the latest. I feel it was in that time frame. So within those like 30, 40 years time period in that space. And I really believe, because that's only 100 years ago, that they know that story. It may not be written in anything because that would be scandalous, right? A man's daughter was with a native half-breed and became impregnated, so he hung her from a tree. That's the kind of scandalous story that people share verbally. They don't write that shit down, and it's not in history books, right? So I really would love to return, stay with Diana. I love you, Diana. And go knock on their door, because farms like that are always passed down family. So whoever is living in that farm right now is probably related to that family because it's only been 100 years ago. And oh yeah, for sure. Because especially the scandalous stories, they are never forgotten in families. And I'm sure everyone on this live probably has a scandalous family tale that maybe even more than 200 years old. So anyhow, I witnessed him. I was actually standing back further. Well, my soul, my earthbound soul, standing back watching him and my body. And so, yes, my body was a young woman, pregnant, not very pregnant, but obviously pregnant, and long brown hair, brown eyes, beautiful full lips, and big eyes. Even with my cold and dead body, still quite beautiful. And he was really struggling to not drop me or fall because he would have fell to his death. But he was really so careful to get Melly out of the tree from that rope and get her safely and himself safely out of the tree. And oh, it's gonna make me emotional. So he did wrap me and got me on the horse. He was on a horse and rode for a really long time and took me to the sea. And so I have not had a chance to share this with Diana yet. But Diana and I went to Pfeiffer Beach, where they have the beautiful purple sand. And I think we went there Tuesday, right, Diana? But the minute I got onto that beach, I felt nauseous, like so sick. And beautiful purple sand, it was like magical, and these flowers. And I even said, I smell something, it smells so beautiful. And it was these flowers. And so in the vision and remembering, that's where he took me, and to enter my Melly's body into the sea. And it was then that I actually allowed myself to cross over. I did not stay earthbound after that. But he had taken me flowers from that space many times. And so he rode quite a long ways. But it's interesting that we had visited that place just days before. And Diana even said that her head was hurting so bad. But I was nauseous and actually ended up falling asleep on that beach. So it was powerful visiting those spaces, but also having that memory. So that happened, all of that was processed during the massage. And I was crying and on her table and witnessing that and processing that. And then in breath work last night, I was able to fully expand into that space and heal a lot of still rage pent up in my solar plexus and in the receiving side of my heart because of that. So I do believe, as clear as the memory was of that life, that was immediately before Sherry. And so there's plenty of synchronicities that have happened with that, okay? So the 5-5, when I took the picture of the gate on that first day, for sure, that's the imminent change. And then I checked her birth date, March 7th. And so I don't know if anyone on here knows about, it's not Zodiac, but it's called Love Cards. And it really is a cool system. I like that system because it talks about the age of your soul, but also the shadow aspects of your human experience, like why you came here. And so her birthday, March 7th, is the same exact birth card as Sherry, May 3rd. It's a 3 of spades. And so that's kind of mind-blowing. But I also remembered, and I told Diana this as we were walking back from that path. I said, you know, my mom used to tell this story that when I was only like 2 or 3 years old, I used to tell everyone I was born in California. And she said I said it with such confidence and conviction that it would creep her out, because we were New Yorkers. We had never been to California. We didn't know anyone from California. And she said, I didn't even know that word was part of your vocabulary. I didn't know how you would even know what California was, but you used to tell people. And she said, and I would tell them, no, she was born in New York. And she said, but I looked like the liar because you were so convinced about it and just knew it in your little being. Yes, I was born in California. And so I've been all through California, but never really felt that connected to a space as I had that. So it's San Luis Obispo, Bautista or something is the hiking trail. But that's the farm. So I will return and I will do a knock and talk, and I'll do a part 2 of this video, like being obedient to spirit, so that I can get all the saucy, it's like playing telephone, right? Because here I am, I'm the one returning to this space saying, hey, I was the one hung from the tree, by the way, in your backyard, that your grandpappy probably, you had heard about, right? But so I would love to hear their version. It would be like playing telephone, right? Oh, we had heard this. No, it's because the man that impregnated me was half native, half white. And he was angry that I was impregnated. And so hung his own daughter from a tree. And Sherry's soul was called to that space from a busy, well, not a busy road, but like a throughway. It's wild. That's obedience to spirit. I heard go to the back paddock and didn't even know what the fuck a paddock was. But anyhow, that's obedience to spirit. When you hear something, as random as it might sound or seem, write it down, look it up, Google it, and watch the whole story of it unfold. Look at me, I was able to retrieve soul fragments. Woohoo! Fuck yeah! That's powerful. Anyhow, that's the story. So, and this is cheers to Sherry for being more visible and sharing things that may potentially make me sound insane to a normal being. So, thank you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth says, thank you for sharing with us. It's very powerful. Thank you, Elizabeth. I love you. And my pulls for today, circle, which represent wholeness. And this is my first pull, by the way, since I've been back from vacation. So, circle, wholeness, represents wholeness. And happy, the reward after hard work. I Sof 22, by the way, is the synchronicity of harmony. 22 is harmony. Harmonizing relationships, harmonizing of our being. The O Sof Her actually translates as the original light. So this card actually speaks of me being the original light, and that there are no obstacles for the original light. I only need to own it. Sacred sounds, using your voice to express yourself, teaches others about not only about you, but also about themselves. Because when we listen, we connect. When we listen with presence, we find more of ourselves in everyone that speaks. That's the connectedness. And I love that Gaia showed up for me today as the Ascended Masters to connect with, because of my connection to the trees and how that tree actually is who guided me to sever cords and call back soul fragments. It was the tree that told me to do that. And detach from drama by us. Always doing that. Drama is created by the ego, not the spirit. So if you feel yourself drawn to drama, it has nothing to do with spirit. And moon cycles again. Hey, Neil. I need some direction with this one. She shows up all the time. So I need something with that. But we are here in the last little crescent. New moon's coming up on the 10th. And Amanda says, I love that you shared your story. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you. And I will share, because I am going to knock. Because I figured, you know, the worst they could say is, no, get the fuck out of here, crazy person. But, I mean, if I hit the jackpot, they're going to be like, what? Come inside. Because Melly was my name, but I didn't get the full name. And I imagine that's probably short for something. Melissa, Melanie, I don't know, Melly. So, and like I said, it's probably not written down. It's probably not in any kind of newspapers. But that's the kind of story that gets passed down, because the scandalous stories always survive, don't they? So, anyhow, thank you. And that's it for the cards. Wow. Okay. Thank you for sharing this time and space with me. Your most valuable commodity. I honor you, and I so am grateful for you. Thank you. I love you. And I am sorry for any disharmony that I myself have created. Please forgive me. I love you. I love you. I love you.